Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The NBA has done it again. The league reviewed a terrible call that helped eliminate the Suns from a special tournament, and they deemed it justice. And then their commissioner seemed to dismiss the entire episode, just like David Stern did so many years ago. This is not new to Suns fans who believe there is no justice. There's just us. But this incident transcends the Valley. Many casual fans and objective observers thought there was something very fishy in awarding a timeout to LeBron James while the ball was loose on the floor, because there is still a prevailing feeling that the league is rigged, that officials are not above playing favorites, and after all, we just witnessed the Chris Paul-Scott Foster reunion at Footprint Center, and it didn't end well for our former point guard. Every sports league has issues with officiating, but no other league has this kind of image problem. No other league has a good percentage of fans who think the league engages in felonious behavior. Now, for years, I have railed against this conspiracy theory. I strongly believe the persecution complex in the Valley is not healthy and certainly no way to enjoy a postseason. But I also believe the NBA needed to do better than their explanation of what went down Tuesday night in Los Angeles, and in that regard, they failed us once again. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
That's what is known at the league office as a very close call.
Very close. Very close.
It was a close call.
That was Adam Silver on Pat McAfee yesterday. Persecution Complex is it would be a great name for an Arizona sports podcast, wouldn't it?
Oh, it is a good idea. Wow. Yes.
I'm done with naming bands. Now I'm naming podcasts.
It goes all the way back to the very beginning of this franchise, the coin toss that nobody witnessed, that gave Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to a different team. Mm-hmm. So listen, and it's gone, and then there was the timeout that Richie Powers wouldn't call in the 76 NBA Finals, bending the rules that benefited the Boston Celtics to the point where Al Bianchi still wears a ring inscribed with the words F Richie Powers, or wore it. Yeah. And then you roll through the 90s, and then you roll through that whole Boris Diaw, Amare Stoudemire, which to me still ranks as one of the greatest injustices in sports.
To listen to the palaver.
Indeed. An incident where the victims were penalized more than the instigators.
Yes.
And it changed the course of NBA history. So this doesn't rise to that level. We all get it. It's just a stupid in-season tournament. But the optics, like Vinny said yesterday, there were a lot of people watching that game, not just Phoenix fans, not just LA fans. It was a primetime deal. It was the Lakers Suns. There was a lot of national eyeballs on that game, and you can go online and you can see what people are saying about this, and they're right back in the conspiracy lane. No other sport deals with this like the NBA, and like I said, if you are going to be the NBA and you're going to go CC, correct call, in the 2-minute report, which they did, which came out late yesterday, you've got to give an explanation, because how is that a correct call? Now, you and I, we've talked about, all three of us have talked about what they might be using as their explanation. Then come out and say it.
Come out and say it is right, but how this then affects us in the Valley as fans of this franchise, as fans of these teams. That persecution complex is not going to go away until one thing happens.
Yes.
Until a championship is won.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It's almost like this weird reverse badge of honor. Like, you can tell a real Arizona sports fan by the amount of suffering they have, or the amount of instances that they can rattle off that were injustices in their eyes.
It's like that scene in Jaws when they're comparing scars and wounds.
Yeah.
See this? Mary Jo Moffat, she broke my heart. Remember that scene in Jaws? Yes. That's what it's like in Phoenix. You've got people who've been around this basketball team a long time. They've got the scar tissue. The reason why Al McCoy, the great retired Al McCoy, railed against officials so much was because he saw it all. He was there from the very beginning, right? And so, you know, and repeated behaviors, they tend to form consistent opinions. So again, I'm not trying to make a huge deal about this. I can understand why the official on the court in Staples Center awarded the timeout, but there was a protocol that they blew. They blew it. That baseline ref, you have got to get involved and say, okay, hold on, timeout or not timeout. Timeout on that timeout.
Yeah, to your point, too, about the national reaction, there was a headline on the For the Win blog on USA Today. The Lakers' loose ball phantom timeout might be the worst call by NBA officials this season. So It's not just a Phoenix thing.
Right.
And I doubt we'll get that second wave of reaction to the last 2-minute report outside of Phoenix. So move on.
Yeah.
There's a conversation that was had on Burns and Gambo, and it's running on our airwaves now in promo form. And I think Gambo's asking some pretty interesting questions in that conversation and in that promo. Do we have any proof to this point that the Phoenix Suns are a great basketball team? They've been highly talked about. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of star power. We know these things. But now that's 3 close games against the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm not going to accept they don't have their full team together. You can still win games when you don't have your full team together. Mm-hmm. It was a 1-possession game. But that's 3 times specifically against the Lakers where they've had opportunities to win, and they didn't get it done. There's been other games, too, where you're wondering. And I know there's this feeling out process and this acclimation process, and I think it's going on in other NBA cities. People are not going to want to hear this, but I think it's coming together in L.A. with the Clippers. They've played now. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have played every game this season. James Harden's getting a little bit more acclimated. Now, for the Clippers, by the time that they get acclimated, one of those guys is going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. But we haven't had that luxury here in Phoenix.
But you're right about that. You're right about that. Was a big win for the Clippers last night, and if they get this thing going in a certain direction, I agree with you. I think there's signs of trouble here, to be honest, and not gigantic signs, because I do think that there's a lot of season left. But for a team that should, at the very least, be much better defensively, they haven't always been that. And I'll tell you what really bothered me is, okay, so you don't have your big 3 here. You're playing a home game against the Memphis Grizzlies. You gave up a 37-point fourth quarter to them. 37 points in the fourth quarter. A good lockdown defensive team, a team built on bedrock principles, that doesn't happen. And I'll be honest with you, too. Tuesday night in Los Angeles, it looked like the Lakers had a better defensive scheme for the Suns than the Suns did for the Lakers.
Did we think this team was going to be good defensively, though, because of the players, or because we know Frank Vogel's a good defensive coach?
The latter.
So they might just not have the players to make them good.
Yeah, but that still makes it a problem. I'm not saying it's the coach's fault. I'm saying that's an issue here. That even the defensive-minded head coach, because that's what he hangs his proverbial hat on, it only goes so far. I mean, did that fourth quarter against Memphis strike you the same way? Josh Okogie played great defense for 3 quarters. He got lit up in the fourth quarter.
And that was without Ja Morant.
Yeah, and that's without Ja Morant. So to me, I think those are very valid questions. This team does have to earn this. And there are times when they look it, and I think the return of Devin Booker was great, but the Lakers have got some stuff to throw at Devin Booker that he was not comfortable with the other night.
Well,
Jared Vanderbilt, shut up, Jared! They've got long, active, athletic defensive players, and that bothers
They
Book.
do, and Devin Booker has certainly gotten better in that realm, but it was a step back on Tuesday night, no doubt.
And I always point this out, but there is a reason why they thought they needed to go out and get another superstar. Because they thought they weren't good enough as presently constructed with just the 2.
I don't know if that's true. I think it was more of, let's get rid of Chris Paul. Oh, we can do this. I don't know. I'm not sure if the addition of Bradley Beal was out of, we're not good enough as constructed. You might be right. I don't know.
Might be, but I tend to agree with Chris Paul's 38 years old
and
now.
he was slowing us down. We need to play a higher tempo game of basketball, which I agree with.
I do believe that if that deal had not gone down and Chris Paul was still here, the Suns' record would be better right now, but I wouldn't necessarily put them any higher up in terms of chances of winning a championship.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I actually do. So there you go. It's Yeah, it would be nice, like you said to begin this thing, it would be nice if this basketball team could get fully healthy, get on a roll, and kind of establish that identity. Who are you? Right? That's what has to happen here.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.